Donald Trump got smacked down by the Biden administration on Monday of this week, and I got to tell you, folks, I am loving every second of it. Little backstory. Last week, as we all know, Donald Trump sued the National Archives to prevent them from releasing any of his communications, documents, what have you, from the White House on January 6th. He doesn't want anybody to know. And based on the Rolling Stone report from earlier this week, now we know why he doesn't want anybody to know. But he sued the National Archives, said, listen, I've exerted executive privilege over all of this. Your hands are tied. Well, on Monday, White House counsel Dana Remiss informed the National Archives that you don't have to listen to Donald Trump because Joe Biden, the actual executive, is not exerting executive privilege over any of this material that's been requested. So have at it. Now, does that completely resolve the issue? Absolutely not. The lawsuit's still going to move forward. However, as I have repeatedly explained, and as Dana Remiss explained in her letter to the National Archives, Trump is not the executive. Donald Trump cannot claim executive privilege over anything. That privilege lies with one human being at a time, and it happens to be the current president of the United States, whoever that may be. And last time I checked, contrary to what Mike Lindell believes, the president of the United States is in fact Joseph Biden. And if Biden says these documents requested by the committee are not in fact protected by executive privilege, then they are not in fact protected by executive privilege and they can be released to the committee. And of course, as I mentioned, that has to happen. The bombshell report earlier this week from Rolling Stone that indicated that Donald Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, his former advisor, Katrina Pearson, and a whole handful of idiot Republican lawmakers were directly involved with the planning of the Stop the Steal rally from earlier that day. So, I refuse to believe that Donald Trump didn't know something was going to happen. In fact, it was already agreed upon that Donald Trump was going to walk down to the Capitol with these individuals. He was going to lead them there. Until luckily, thank God, somebody in the White House talked him out of doing that. So we do need to know what happened. Honestly, the thing I want most is I want to know who intervened. I want to know who told Trump, you're not going to do this. We're not going to let this happen. Because that person deserves a medal. Just for that one act. I'm sure beyond that, they were probably pretty crappy, as was everybody else in that administration. But somebody did a right thing, and they deserve to be applauded for it. But most importantly, we need to know all of the wrong things that Donald Trump had done. And legally speaking, I don't think he has a leg to stand on. If the current administration is telling the National Archives that executive privilege does not cover these documents, then if this thing were to go to a court, they would just say the same thing to the court, like, no, we're not claiming executive privilege and he does not have dominion over this anymore, so release it. The judge's hands would be tied. There would be nothing that could stop it. Again, as I've repeatedly said, because Trump is not the executive. If Biden wants this information released, go ahead and release it. That's my advice. What are you going to get in trouble? Who's going to hold you accountable? You're the president of the United States, right? Republicans don't have the numbers to impeach you. So do it. Right? Just do it. Enough with the back and forth. Enough with the Trump obstruction. You've told the National Archives to do it, and if they're not going to do it, then by God, you send somebody down there, you grab the files yourself, you walk them over to Congress, and you say, here you go, Merry Early Christmas. That's what needs to happen, because of that report earlier this week, the public demands some answers.